Hi, it's been a while. Um, this is the Pip Pin podcast. It has probably been about a year and a half, 2 years since I last filmed an episode, and I'm really excited to be back. So, if you don't know who I am Megan Nodecker. I am a knitwear designer from Abbotsford, British Columbia, and I'm also a teacher. And yeah, that's kind of a little bit about me. I guess I'm just going to jump right in because I feel like there's an important reason why I felt compelled to set up the camera and film an episode again. And it's something that happened over New Year's. Like I said, I'm a knitwear designer. I've been a knitwear designer for 15 years. I've been doing this professionally for um, probably many years now. And it has been my career. It is my career. And I guess the other day, I have a desk at my house, and I was cleaning things up. I had kind of half finished projects everywhere. It was kind of a mess, so I decided to clean off the top of my desk and bring all my yarn bits to my closet, which is where I keep my stash and organize everything. So I kind of gathered up all that stuff, and I sat on the floor of my closet and I was putting everything away, and I kind of realized that over the past few months, I had been trying to work on like 3 or 4 different patterns, and nothing was working, and nothing was coming to fruition. Nothing was easy. And not that designing is easy, but generally I'll feel like something, and then I'll know I'm on the right track. And I have been sketching designs, I'd been swatching for things, I've been trying to swatch for things. I had yarn that I really loved and was inspired by, and I had ideas, but anytime I tried to like get those ideas out of my head and onto a piece of paper, it just nothing, it didn't click. Um, I also realized I have some patterns that are like ready to go and just need some final touches. I have the photography done and everything, and I just haven't felt that pull to do those last final steps. And so as I was sitting there kind of in the middle of my closet, surrounded by all my stuff, I had this little thought, and it was, what if I just didn't worry about it anymore? What if I just stopped designing? And immediately I felt just like this whole whatever was on top of me just lift off. And it was like, oh, that's what I need to do. And so I kind of in that moment decided that that's what I'm going to do. Sorry. So 2026, I mean, this happened kind of around Christmas time, around New Year's. So I've decided that 2026 is going to be the year that I don't actively design anything. Um, I'm putting myself on a hiatus. Usually, like I've been in design slumps before where, I'm just not inspired or things just aren't kind of working out the way I want them to. Like this has happened to me multiple times before. Um, but never for this long. I realized that the last time that I had actually like knit anything that I had designed was last summer. And yeah, I just I felt like I needed to re-inspire myself. I've been looking at sweaters specifically from other designers. Like there's sweaters that I've been thinking about knitting for years and years and years, and I've just never gotten around to it. There's yarn in my stash that I've wanted to use, but when you're designing, you want to use yarn that other people can easily get, and some of the stuff is discontinued, or the colorways doesn't exist anymore, or things like that. So taking those limitations off me, I immediately felt inspired. And I took that as the sign to go ahead with it. And if you're on my email newsletter or on my Instagram channel, you might have seen a post about it or an email about it saying essentially what I'm saying now. But I'm really excited about it. And I have not felt this passion for knitting in quite some time. And so I thought, what better time to restart this YouTube channel and see where it goes. So I'll definitely be sharing. I I'm not going to tell you how often I'm going to post videos because that would be silly. Um, but I do want to say it might be a little bit different than it has been before, where I was just sharing projects. I really want to dig in a little deeper to the projects that I'm working on and tell you about um, some of the things that I'm doing. One of the things that I teach a lot about is altering sweater patterns and how to really customize fit or how to change things and how to really make things your own. And as a designer, I couldn't really put any of that into practice because when I design things, I design them for me exactly how I want them. So they're already how I want them to be. I'm really excited to put some of these things that I teach into practice and be able to share those things with you. So that's kind of the direction that we're going to go. I hope that you enjoy it, and let's uh, let's share some knits. So over the past month or so, 2 months, there was a new coffee shop that opened in my town, and it's a crochet cafe. It's a crochet themed cafe, and a place to like. It's super cute, and the drinks are really nice. It's all pink and fluff and flowers, and it's adorable. And the drinks are delicious, and the food is delicious. So if you ever get a chance, you're in Abbotsford, I would suggest going there because it's really cute. But it was the grand opening a couple months ago, and Georgia really wanted to go because they were giving away some tote bags to the first 50 people that were there. So we did. We woke up stupid early on Sunday morning and stood in line, and it was really fun. We got to like chit chat with other knitters and crocheters and crafty people, and we got to get our little tote bag. And while we were waiting in line, on one side of the wall was just this like wall of yarn. They had a couple different kinds. One of them was Drops Air, which I've never worked with before, but Georgia absolutely fell in love with it. So I told her, well, why don't you pick out a skein and I'll pick out one, and then we can, I'll make us something. So she did. And I did. So she chose this color. Oh, it's blowing out a little bit, but this is like a pale, kind of brighty lavender. And what I made was the Whitethorn cowl. And this is a pattern of mine. And it is just a simple bandana cowl. I did not do the exact directions because the gauge that I got with this yarn was much bigger than, much looser than the pattern suggests. So if I would knit the pattern, then this would have been way too big and I would have ran out of yarn. We only got one skein of it. So all I did is, this is kind of like you start it working flat and you start it here and then you work kind of top down as like a triangle shawl with just the increases in the middle. And so you start that way. And so I just did that until it was the right width. And then I joined it in the round, and then you kind of keep doing increases here, and then you do decreases in the back while you're working in the round to kind of create that bandana shape. So yeah, I just kind of eyeballed it and made sure to keep this pattern intact. And I think it turned out really well. She says she really likes it and has been wearing it. And then I decided to make one for me too. And so I picked, hers has been blocked. Mine has not. So it's a little scrunchier, but I have been wearing it, and I really like this color. It's a little bit showing up pretty bright, but I think it's very fun for winter time. A little pop of red, and yeah. So I think these were two nice little fun projects that I was working on over Christmas. This was kind of came before I had my revelation. Another thing that I've been working on is a pair of socks. I usually always have a pair of socks on the go. And this time I am making them out of some really old stash yarn. I think this is Autumn and Indigo when they used to be a company and dyed yarn. I think they started out hand dyeing yarn, and then they shifted to selling yarn that they had dyed elsewhere. And then I think they don't exist anymore. So this is really, really old yarn. And just some Knit Picks Stroll, which I have quite a bit of this in my stash in all sorts of different colors. I like using this for heels, toes, and cuffs quite a bit. And of course, I'm like in the middle of a row. This is what I'm working on. So this is kind of loosely based on Hermione's Everyday Sock, which is a free pattern you can kind of get on Ravelry. And so I use the texture from that and then just my own, I mean, I've knit hundreds of socks, so I just know how to knit them. I do a 64 stitch cast on size 0 needles, and I heel flap and gusset because that's what fits me best. And then I'm just going to knit until the toe. So this was kind of my car knitting and talking to people knitting and campfire knitting and all the out and about kind of knitting. So that is definitely something that I don't expect to be finished anytime soon, but is always kind of on the back burner. Now, the exciting thing that I wanted to talk about is the sweater that I decided to cast on. And I have like a whole book of notes that I want to share with you because the planning stages of a new sweater is always kind of the most exciting, and where the most changes can happen is right at the beginning. So, share the sweater first, I guess. I'm making Sky. This is the Paul Klee sweater by Midori Hirose. And yeah, this is one of those sweaters that I've always caught my eye, but I never had the time to cast on. So I was really excited to finally cast it on. And I stash dove for this. So I was using a set of mini skeins from 6 and 7 Fiber and Mindent Cravings. There's Sweet Sock in evening gown, which is this like gorgeous, gorgeous green. I'll show you in a little bit. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the changes that I'm going to be making to this sweater, because I'm not knitting it as, as they say. So the first thing I noticed with this pattern, I think this is kind of the only picture that I have of it, but you can look it up on Ravelry if you want to see more. But the neckline is very high, and that is not something that I'm good with. So the first thing I knew that I wanted to do was to do a provisional cast on. And because when I looked at the pattern, it has you cast on right at the neckline and then do the collar and kind of go completely from the top down. You don't pick up stitches for the collar or anything like that. I didn't want to do that. I'm pretty picky when it comes to necklines, especially like high necklines. So I didn't want to have to, knit the whole thing and then realize that I hate it and have to do sweater surgery or anything like that. So what I did is I did a crochet cast on, and in the pattern I found where like after the collar and after the short rows, and there is a round where you increase stitches as well. So I found where that was. It's right before the color work, and I did a provisional cast on. And so I don't have any of the collar done. I don't have any of the short rows. What I've done is I'm doing the provisional cast on. I'm going to work the yoke and then block that, see how it feels on decide what I want to do for the neck, and then pick up that provisional cast on, and then I can work the neckline however I want. So I can do the short rows if I want to, I can do the decreases if I want to, I can do the high neck if I want to still, but then I have kind of complete control over what's happening here, which is really important to me. So that was one of the first changes that I knew I was going to do. And then I kind of started thinking about the size. And not that there's anything wrong with the sizes of this sweater at all, but I wanted it to be, I had a once in floral sweater that I made way back in 2020 that I just love the fit of. It's a little bit oversized, but it's not like super oversized. It's just very relaxed and very casual. So I wanted the same measurements for the sweater. So I really just laid it out flat and measured that sweater and found the corresponding size in this pattern, which I believe, yeah, I wanted the bust circumference to be 46 inches. I have just a couple inches of positive ease. And so I think that put me into a size large, but the sleeves are much bigger than I wanted them to be in the size large. If you can see kind of where my my mark is here, this is the size for the bust, and then this is the size, too extra small, that I wanted for the upper sleeve circumference. So there's that. But with the construction of this sweater, you kind of do this circular yoke, and then you do raglan increases once you've done that to kind of complete the shaping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to complete the yoke and see where we're at, and I can just not add any increases to the sleeves if I don't want to, because you can do that. So if I feel that I have enough stitches for my sleeves, I'm just going to only increase the raglan for the body, and then hopefully that will kind of even out what's going on here. I'm sure it will. The other thing is, and I'll show you my swatch in just a minute here as well, but the other thing is my gauge is not, it's not going to match this. They've used what yarn did they use for this? They've used Jamieson's of Shetland Spindrift, which is a Shetland wool, which is beautiful and gorgeous. I'm not using Shetland wool. I'm using a sock yarn. And so the gauge they've listed in the pattern is 22 stitches over 4 inches in stockinette stitch. There was absolutely no way I'm getting 22 stitches over 4 inches in a sock yarn. I did my swatch on a size 5 needle, which is the needle that they suggested, but that's also the needle that I know I like. I've knit many, many sweaters in sock yarn on US 5 needles, so I kind of know what that fabric feels like on me, and I do like that fabric a lot. And with that needle, I was getting 25 stitches per inch, or per 4 inches. So that is quite a big difference. Quite a big difference. And I know that going up a needle size just isn't going to make up that difference. I would have to go up so high, and then it would become this weird drapey mess. I like the fabric that I've got, so I just did some calculations instead to pick a different size based on my gauge. So my gauge was 25 stitches per inch, which is 6.25 stitches per inch. And I wanted my body to be 46 inches, right? So all I have to do is multiply my outcome, so 46 by my stitches per inch, which is 6.25, and that gives me 287. So what I did then is I just went into the pattern itself, so into the pattern directions, and this kind of part takes a little bit of digging sometimes, especially if you're not used to reading through patterns, especially if the pattern isn't written very clearly or has like clearly defined sections. This pattern was a breeze. It was very easy to find all this information that I needed because it's laid out very nicely and everything just makes sense. Um, so what I did is with that 287, that's how many stitches I need at my best, right? 287 divided by my stitch gauge, which is 6.25, gives me 46 inches, which is the outcome that I want. So all I have to do was go into the pattern and find where she gave the stitch counts for the bust. So when I found that information, I think I looked at a couple different sizes to see which one was kind of close. And I think I ended up with the 2XL. So because my stitch gauge is quite a bit tighter than what the pattern's listed, I'm going to have to knit a couple sizes bigger to get the same finished measurement. If I was to go, like I showed you before, I had circled the size large on the thing. If I was to knit the size large with my gauge, that sweater would be Georgia sized, which I'm sure she would be very happy about, but I would not be. So I did that math, found that little piece of information in the pattern, and now I've determined that if I knit the size 2XL, it will give me the finished measurements that I'm wanting. The sleeves, I also kind of looked at the sleeves to see maybe what size I would need to be knitting on that, but I'm not going to worry too much about that yet because I'm very confident in my skills. I can wing that a little bit later. Yeah. The other thing is I only have 2 skeins of the main. So I have 2 skeins of, I'll pop up my swatch now. So I have 2 skeins of this. This is the Midnight Craving Sweet Sock in evening gown. Um, Gorgeous. I'm very excited to use this. This has been in my stash for a really long time. But yeah, I only have 2 skeins of it. So we're going to work with that. My Once in Floral sweater, the silhouette of it, I love the shape of it, but it is very long, which is what I was wearing 5 years ago. It's fine. But this one I do want to hit like at my at my pant line, so it's going to be quite a bit shorter. Um, I think what I'm probably going to do is work the yoke. I'm going to leave the collar because I can always kind of do, I've seen some projects where people did the collar in a different color, and it looked really cute. So I'm probably not going to do the collar right away, but I will do the body. I think I might, I don't know, maybe I'll just kind of do it in bits and pieces to see how long I can get the sleeves and how long I can get the body. I've also seen some people do some stripes in like colors the from their yoke, or kind of repeat the yoke pattern on a sleeve kind of thing. So I have some options depending on how much yarn I'm actually going to be using. So again, that's something I'm just going to play by ear. I'm not too worried about it. The other colors that I was using, so, all right. So this sock set from, the set is coming in. This sock set from 6 and 7 Fiber is like stunning. It's all these different tonals. It's 2 of them are, so not the solid colors, but this one, and this one. So they're very like kind of variegated, speckly, like really lovely, lovely colors. And I wanted those to be the focus. Um, and I also like the set had all the colors of the rainbow, but I didn't want a rainbow sweater. So those were kind of the things that I was working with. I looked into my stash to see what colors I could pair with those, and I wanted those colors to shine. So originally, this was kind of my palette. Um, and I hate it. I really don't like it at all. I liked these two. And then because I think what I was trying to do is because I was trying to make these the focus, I was going lighter with the more solid color. And that was the wrong thing because now all of these colors are kind of blending together and it's really turning out a lot lighter than I had anticipated. And as soon as I added this like bright blue in, I was like, oh, okay, this is actually the direction that I need to go in. So I started again. Oh, and this is the provisional cast on, if you were curious what that looks like. I just did the provisional cast on. I did one row with the emerald green there, and then I went straight into the color work. And I'll pick this up and deal with all this later. Um, so I changed my entire color palette and reknit the whole thing. And when I tell you this took me no time at all, it took me no time at all because I am so excited about these colors because they're way better. So this is now what we're working with. Sorry, it's not blocked. It's not anything. Um, but this is what it looks like. So we have this beautiful deep green at top, going into red and burgundy and some gray and then blue and yellow. And then it's going to go to green and then it's going to go to back to the gray and then repeat these four, but just in the opposite direction. So that is where that is. And I'm way more excited about this. Uh, yeah, this one was just not bringing me joy. Um, And so if this is the sign that you need to restart that project that you didn't like your colors on or your stitch pattern or something, restart the project because it's going to be better and you're going to be way more excited about it. And I'm very excited for this. It's completely out of the realm of what I usually do. Usually, the last sweater I knit was this one, this brown, black Cat Bells cardigan. The one before that was this beige raglan pullover, which I wear. I wear these two constantly, all the time. I've been wearing them all winter. Um, but sometimes I just want to be a fun art teacher. And I think this is going to be great. And with the green, I think it's going to be wonderful. Yeah. Oh, one more thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about is my swatch. My swatch is very small. Usually what I do is I will take, this pattern says, what was it, 22 stitches over 4 inches. So I'll take that 22 and then I'll add half. So I cast on like 34-ish stitches because I want my swatch to be about 6 inches. But because my gauge was much tighter, of course, my swatch ended up much smaller. But because I've worked at this gauge before, I've made sweaters in this yarn before. I have one sitting over there. Because of all those things, I'm very confident that I don't need to reswatch. So I didn't. But one thing I did try, this was something somebody had told me in one of my recent classes is a new method of swatching in the round. And essentially what you do is you knit across, and then instead of bringing this yarn across the back and knitting across again, you kind of guesstimate how much yarn you're going to use to knit a row. And so you work the yarn the from the middle almost, so that instead of having a strand across the back, you just end up with these little loops on the side. And I didn't mind it so much, but one issue that I was running into, which I'm not sure if you'll be able to see or not, but I could tell, and I could still tell after blocking even, was this edge, the edge where I don't have the loops, that was tighter. So that was really bunching up and being a lot tighter than the edge with the loops, because I guess I was putting more tension on this side, and then I was loosening up my stitches. So I did not like that aspect of it. It could just be a practice thing, but you know, I'm so used to pulling my strands across the back and just knitting across, that I think that's what I'm going to stick with. I tried the new thing. I understand the new thing. I get the appeal, but I don't think it's for me. The edge does look nicer. One edge looks nicer, but the tension's not right. And the whole point of a swatch is to have even tension and to have it be the same on the swatch as it's going to be on your sweater. And I could just tell that this isn't going to be that. So, so I went back to my usual way of swatching. And yeah, I think that's just how I'm going to do it. But anyways, that's kind of all I've got for today. If you have any questions about what I'm working on, or what kind of changes I'm making, or any of the more technical stuff behind what I'm doing, or how you can, you know, kind of do that in your own knitting, feel free to drop a comment below. I'm really excited to be back. I really am. I really miss talking to you in this way. And I'm very excited. I'm exceptionally excited that I am excited about knitting again. And I am so happy to be able to share that with you again, from a place of excitement and not obligation, I guess. Anyways, thanks very much for joining me. I will see you again probably in a couple weeks when I have some more to talk about, when I keep going with my projects. I have another sweater that I want to cast on, but I figured I should get a little bit, you know, I'll at least get to the body and stuff of this sweater before I cast on another one. But I'm thinking of the rosy sweater. So if you've knit that one and have any tips for me, let me know. All right, I will see you next time. Bye.